Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Alex StarCraft here, bringing you guys the last Zerg versus Terran from this replay pack. Yes, indeed, I'm freaking excited. Now, it's not actually going to be the last one uploaded, but it's going to be the last one casted. I casted a game versus 4GG, which you guys will be seeing soon. That is 4GG, the ex-OGS and ex-Brood War player. But, of course, I did the commentary, and then the video was corrupt. So, not going to be uploading that anytime soon, and unfortunately, because I just casted it, and I don't want to ruin the feel of the cast, because I know what's coming, I'm going to have to wait a bit before I do go ahead and do that. But, this is another TLO game, and of course, this is to supplement my TLO playlist on my channel, so go check that out if you haven't already. There will be a link at the bottom of this video, at the end of the video, that'll send you right to it, so you can go ahead and watch all the other nifty stuff. And of course, it is the player that this replay pack features in the bottom left-hand corner. It is the blue Zerg. It is LiquidTLO, TLO being the little one, for those of you that don't know. And in the Liquid Rising documentary, he actually talks about why that's his name. I don't recall for sure, but I think the reasoning is the fact that he essentially goes ahead and plays for, he plays in some random little tournament in Germany, I think, and he ends up all of a sudden he ends up beating the huge favorite there, and the favorite was saying, he went up and he talked to the little one after, and he gave him a shirt, and he was like, even the little one can become great someday. And then TLO, later on, he found that shirt when he started playing StarCraft 2, and he knew the name was Destiny, and that was his birth. And we have in the top right hand corner, it is WOOBU. WOOBU. He's the red Terran, and he's the one who just tried to go for a proxy 2 racks that very unfortunately got scouted. TLO sending the Overlord over here just because he wants to check. But as soon as it got scouted, he went ahead and he canceled that. And that automatically puts him in some not so great shape. Now, he is going to be going ahead and expanding, and oh god, TLO with the scout on that drone, perfectly timed. He's not only going to see the command center, he's going to harass it a little bit, might even be able to deny some building on it for a bit, and he is getting an expansion of his own. Even though he scouted that crazy proxy 2 racks, he didn't even have his hatch down yet, and he's not scared. He goes for a hatch first anyway, followed by that spawning pool. And he's making the drone as annoying as humanly possible, a delayed barracks for WOOBU. And so I would not really be surprised to see TLO, if he wanted to, maybe save up some larvae for some lings. But it looks like no, he's just going ahead. He is playing completely standard because he knows that is what's going to be giving him his best chance at success in this game. And that's why players play standard, because they know, hey, if I take it to the late game, I can make some better decisions than them. I can out-macro them, out-mechanic them, and I'll be in good shape, versus an early game, an aggressive push where you can end up with a lot of trouble just because of the fact that, well, there's a lot of variability in those early things, such as scouting it. TLO may well have been in some trouble if he had not scouted this, but he did. So freaking awesome for him. Now, WOOBU is going ahead. He's, I guess, finally... Okay, well, no, he's not supply blocked as soon as this finishes, when it finishes. Good God. There we go. Now he's not supply blocked anymore, so good for him. He was temporarily. And he does have a barracks up. He's making double orbital command, so good from him. And he actually has a gas, which I'm assuming TLO saw. Yes, he did see the gas. All right, so very good from him. So he is probably going to have some idea that some kind of maybe Hellions behind the command center could be coming. That would be the most likely option. And we saw him deal with this in the last game versus some Korean Terran who has a barcode name. So I couldn't actually tell you what his name is. But again, go check those things out, because we saw him deal with it very, very well in the last game. Turned into a crazy macro game that was really, really cool. A lot of nice harassment from TLO. And it was even on this map, except their positions were TLO here, the Terran here. So a bit different. Cross map in this situation might mean a bit more of a macro game, though on Shakuras it doesn't make a huge difference, because it's just, well, it's going here versus going here. So it's just a tiny little bit of extra distance. WOOBU going ahead, he's scouting. I guess he wants to make sure his opponent didn't expand up there. TLO actually taking a third hatch right here. The brilliance of that is, if the SCV comes to scout it, he can deny it with his queens, and the SCV also going to try and get into the natural, and even that dies. So WOOBU thinks his opponent is... Oh, no, never mind. He has a Zonaga tower. He knows he's 3-basing. That was extremely anticlimactic. I apologize for how anticlimactic that was. 2 extractors are going up, and a third is already completed at... Or no. One just finishing and a second finished at TLO's natural expansion, a third going up. And we're just going to see that slow tech to start to progress as soon as he gets his drones up and running, which he can do alongside it with only those low numbers of gas. And we do have WOOBU finally completing his wall off, or starting it really, at the 7-minute mark. So if TLO 6-pooled him, he'd be in some trouble. But again, he proxied 2 racks, so he actually might not have been in that bad of shape. Now, there is a starport completed, reactor Hellions being made, and it is going to be a follow-up with Banshees. It seems like that is something that a lot of Terran players like to do on this map versus Zerg. It might be because Banshees can really kind of help abuse this, and it's also, well, I guess how open the center is wouldn't really favor him, but I guess they really just want to deny creep spread on this map because of probably because of how flat it is out here. It's so easy for the Zerg to very quickly spread creep all across the map. So they use the Hellions, they use the Banshees, they go ahead, they try and deny that as best they can. Marines checking for a scouting Overlord, which they will not find. There was nary an Overlord that day. So, not going to find that. WOOBU would not be surprised to see him scan in just a second, see if he can kill off some creep, but the Queen says, I will defend my creep. Let my people go. So he's defending. The Queen is going to see the Hellions coming up in that way. And God, TLO just spreading creep at every opportunity. One creep tumor is attacked, but it is cancelled, not killed. So very good from TLO again. That means he can spread off of this one once more. He is putting more and more Overlords in position. And once again, like, no drop can get past TLO in this game. Just nowhere. He has Overlords in every position imaginable, and it's just not going to happen. And WOOBU making quite a few Hellions. He's actually going to be pushing out with 8 of them, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what can really do damage to a Zerg player. You just need to get a good position and not get surrounded, even if it's a surround like this. But the Hellions, you see, do so much damage. The Zerglings are all so low on health. And the Hellions do get off a few good hits, and it looks like they're mostly going to clean that up, though I'm not actually sure which player that favored. It looks like it favored TLO just a little bit, and that is the problem with running through somewhere like here, especially when it is so delayed, just because TLO was prepared for it. He had time. Now, he does have Queens. TLO transfusing one Queen, but 1 energy short of getting a transfuse on the other. He's going to be able to kill the Queen, though, kill the Hellion as well, or kill the Banshee, I should say. The Banshee does live, however, and WOOBU actually on 4 gases right now, which is pretty dang early, and he is meching. That explains it. He's getting some Banshees. He has a 3rd orbital command, and along with the Banshees, well, he's going to be producing a lot of Hellions all game, and he's going to be producing a tech lab as well. Now, does TLO have any idea of this? No, he does not. I'd imagine once he sees more and more Hellions being made, it's going to set something off in his head. He's going to be like, wait a second, this isn't normal. Maybe he's going mech, especially if his opponent gets blue flame, then he definitely knows his opponent is going mech. If he scouts double armory and 4 factories, then he absolutely knows he's going mech. But it's just a matter of what it's going to take, and you know, how is TLO, what kind of shape is TLO going to be in when you double expand and you don't know your opponent is meching yet? So he is going to see another Hellion, but he's seen no bio yet. He's getting a Baneling Nest, which is obviously not good against a mech. And I don't know, I'm worried. And he's going to see the scouting barracks, and that should immediately, I would think, set something off. You normally don't scout with a barracks. Though granted, I guess MKP did the other day, and MKP doesn't mech. He's Marine King Prime. So, I'm not really sure. Bunch of Banshees flying out right here. TLO still no sign of a Roach Warren, though, so he still does not know his opponent's meching, unless TLO is just so confident in his ability to go for Lings and Infestors that he can just beat mech. But that'd be pretty intense if that was the case. Now he's going to go ahead, he's going to try and kill this expansion. He does have 3 Banshees, and good God, they do a lot of damage, and there's actually not really anything I think TLO can do about it. He's just going to have to sacrifice this expansion, which is unfortunate, but he double expanded, so he's already on 4 bases anyway compared to his opponent's 3. So the expansion does fall. So that dies, and there we go. There's a Roach Warren from TLO. What has he seen? Well, he's seen Hellions only, no bio, I should say. And that automatically says, well, hey, Zergling's not so good against Hellions. But when you make that many and you're such a boss like TLO, you're going to kill all the Hellions. Then you're going to run them into the natural of your opponent and have creep spreading across a river into their 3rd expansion. So TLO doing a good amount of damage to WOOBU right there. Kills about 8 workers in total. And my God, these Terran players' production tabs are just getting out of control. You cannot even see the full thing with the nameplate up. And so now we should be seeing TLO. He starts on that missile attacks. He's cancels, or no, he actually has 3 Evo Chambers. So cool from TLO to have 3 of them. Roach speed on the way, and we're going to see him produce copious amounts of roaches really, really soon. He would be doing a 12-minute max if it wasn't already 13 minutes into the game. He's going to be producing so many of them, making an Overseer on the high ground just to help with the Banshees. He only has 1 Infestor currently, 2 on the map in total, though I'm not sure where the other one is. It is running up here to help out with a flank if need be. There is a missile turret out here from WOOBU, so that'll really help minimize burrowed movement from them. And oh my god, TLO with the offensive Spore Crawler. What are you doing, man? But the Hellions have Blue Flame now, and the Siege Tanks are in position. TLO is going to be hard pressed to do a lot of damage here, throwing out a bunch of infested Terran, but immediately he's like, oh crap. He runs home, loses that one guy, unfortunately, and whoa, he's actually making queens on top of this. He's going Queen, Infestor, Roach. Such a composition I've never seen. The Spore Crawler just getting massacred, and that's what happens when you do an offensive Spore Crawler. He's being forced to micro his queens quite a bit, do a lot of transfusing. Didn't quite get that one, but of course, not to blame him, because, well, you have to macro as well as do the micro. He does get one clutch transfused off, but our player WOOBU being very nice, focusing down the queen with the most energy. All the queens fall. TLO has a Banshee on the way, or not Banshee, what am I talking about? He has Roaches on the way, which will really help with these Hellions, but he has to deal with the Banshees, and I guess that's why he's actually getting the queens, because his opponent is going for Hellion Banshee for the time being, with a few Siege Tanks mixed in, but now he is going to be getting those Thors, that oh so powerful battle unit that I know a lot of Terran players don't really like, but you gotta admit, they are powerful, especially in 4v4 when you get like 9 of them. In this engagement right here, the Hellions are going to be going down, Banshees are going to be going down as well, because TLO just is making so many queens. Queens OP, am I right? And there are Roaches and an Infestor still up here, so that's really going to help if he wants to do any kind of a timing attack anytime soon. We do see WOOBU swapping this off with a Tech Lab, so maybe you're going to see more Banshees. He did just produce like 2 Vikings, probably just to maybe clear things out. Has a Banshee flying around here. Not sure where that one Viking is, but TLO is going to be going on the offense now. He runs right into these units. The tanks are not sieged up, but the Thors are here, and I don't know, can TLO break it? There's not a lot of units for WOOBU, and the Thors are going to die really, really fast. All the SCVs being pulled off the line here, and I don't know if WOOBU can actually hold this. More Hellions coming down. The Thor doing a lot of damage with this 1-1 upgrades. But that is a lot of Roaches that are still here for TLO, but the tank is going to be doing so much shooting at them from the high ground, up to 1 kill. Missile turret falls, and TLO doesn't actually know about this base, I don't think. No, he doesn't, so that is unfortunate for him. But my god, he's ahead by 100 supply here. A little reminiscent of Stefano playing in PvZ, but it's actually very, very different, because, well, it's Protoss versus Terran, or what? Terran versus Zerg. TLO spreading creep with the speed overlords, and he knows he is in a pretty dang good position, and it looks like he just wants to maybe try and end the game. He's going ahead, he's getting ventral sacks along with that overlord speed, so he's actually looking to maybe do Roach drops here. A lot of Hellions still being made for WOOBU, but that's not actually going to help you, bud. He's not making any Zerglings, and he's not making drones to attack you with. So that unfortunately is not going to be going all too well. The Roaches are going to be running out. But no, WOOBU too good, and god, I just noted the creep spread. Why is there creep out here? I was just constantly commentating the attacks, and oh god, Roach flank are going to be doing a lot of damage, but I was just commentating the attack. I didn't even notice that the creep slowly made its way up here. Queen's doing a lot of damage as well to those Hellions. They're going to be transfusing, not quite though. He does have his Roaches all burrowed, probably going to be getting burrowed movement, and yes, there it is, the tunneling claws. Getting his Roaches right on top of those Hellions and Siege Tanks, trying to do what damage he can and whittle down the army, and that is what the name of the game really is when you're going Roaches versus a meching player. You just need to whittle down their army, take a chunk of it, remax. You see he has such a strong economy with 76 drones right now versus only 55 SCVs, and he's finally, looks like, going to learn about this base. He's going to see it's a planetary, and he's going to be like, oh, I need to try and kill that at some point. Roaches are going to be going ahead and killing off almost all the Hellions, but the Siege Tanks in the background still doing too much damage for TLO. Now he is running in here with his Roaches, and oh god, beautiful from TLO, splitting the Roaches so they don't take too much splash damage, and he is going to be able to kill this planetary, it looks like, killing the SCVs as well, but the SCVs are going to be repairing it. Can he do it? And the Banshees are going to be chipping away at the Roaches as well. The planetary does fall, so that is a big deal for TLO. But at the same time, Hellions are running into this expansion, and I don't know if TLO has much to defend it. Oh, but burrows the drones, but there is going to be a scan, and these drones are going to fall so fast because of the blue flame. WOOBU just needs to try and make sure he focuses drones. Maybe if he gets a good shot off there, and yeah, there we go. He does get a decent shot off. These Hellions with a good number of kills, 5 and 2, killing 11 workers in total, but TLO has killed 43 this game, so I would say definitely he is in at an advantageous position here. Roach is pushing in, but the siege tank count is getting way too high for WOOBU right now, and that is the problem playing roaches, and that is why, well, roach drops are really good versus siege tanks, because what anti-air do you actually have? You have Viking. So now the roaches are going to be dropped right on top of the siege tanks. They're going to be doing a whole lot of damage, and not only will they be doing their damage, they'll also be splash damage from the other siege tanks, and he's actually dropping queens and infestors as well, transfusing the infestor to keep it alive and fungal the tanks underneath the overlords while the overlords are spreading creep. TLO, what a monster, but he needs to be careful to not overextend. He is forced to pull back his units because WOOBU did manage to stabilize, and he's actually ahead on supply now, despite being mining off of, well, really 1.14 bases. This one, of course, being very close to being mined out. The overlords are like, okay, we should maybe get out of here now that there's no more units for us to hold oh so sweetly in our ventral sacks. And TLO just reinforcing with a good number of roaches and making a bunch of corruptors. The hive is completed. Greater Spire is done. And the upgrades at 222 across the board, so very nice from him. And with that triple Evo chamber, he will be able to get those extra upgrades very quickly. And we see TLO actually staying on a fairly low gas count this game. 6 drones on that, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But he's staying at a kind of low-ish gas count, 4 and 2. So we see that's a good example of how fast this game has been. Taking a look at both players' APM, hovering just over 200 actions per minute. So, I mean, both of these players have been going so hard trying to keep up with everything, and then you have these little mechanical mistakes like putting extra guys on gas. Lucky for TLO, he's going roaches, so he doesn't need the gas all that much. The scouting barracks is going to be seeing that building now, and the Hellions running all the way across. The problem is you can't really sneak these Hellions across the map very effectively because, well, there's creep spread at your opponent's front door. So the Hellions are going to run in. They are going to get a drone kill, and he's going to have to scan if he wants any more. He's going to run up here now, and there's more drones, but TLO does burrow them, and WOOBU's going to scan and be like, oh, that's not very many drones, but they do die really fast, so that's good, killing every drone at that expansion. And TLO, only 64 workers right now, a lot of it probably going into buildings like the Spire, Hatchery, Extractors, and some of them getting sacrificed to the Hellion Brute Frame gods. So WOOBU just sending guys over here to try and deny roaches and zerglings from stopping the expansions. Ooh, sorry, a little bit of a hiccup there, and WOOBU is going ahead, he's flying out this command center. Still mining with this one, and he also is 2-2-2 across the board, so both players even on upgrades, and that's probably going to favor WOOBU in this situation. And my god, TLO, you really need to start making some Broodlords, and WOOBU knows the Broodlords are coming. He already has a Viking out. He's pulling, or transferring some SCVs, I should say. But with the Vikings out, I'm not sure what TLO can really do. He doesn't have a whole lot of Corruptors, and this is a problem with Mech, is I feel even more than Bio, it's really easy for them to be in a not great situation. They'll be behind at one part of the game, and they can pull it out. They can win, and he does go ahead and force this roach back. The roach is just burrow moving around. It can almost heal faster than the Hellions can shoot it. And TLO with a lot of Corruptors. Let's compare the unit counts. We do see that it's 11 Corruptors to 10 Vikings. So TLO with the advantage right there. And of course, he does have those Infestors that can lock them down really, really well. But he also has to be really, really careful just because of the fact that there's these Thors. If he clumps them up, he's going to be taking a whole lot of damage, and that would be really a game ender at this point. We do see WOOBU is about to be maxed, and despite his not so great economy for most of the game, this is a scary army right here. It doesn't look huge, but you have to remember those Thors have 2-2-2 upgrades, and there's currently, what is that, 8 of them on the map, and 8 Thors do a lot of damage. If he pulls some SCVs, they'll do a lot more. Roach hit squad trying to do some work, but they are going to go ahead, they're going to get killed. And taking a look at the workers killed this game, we do see it's 46-23, so a high worker casualty in this game. I'd argue that it's one of the most risky occupations in Shakuras. I don't know if that's the name of this place, but it's Shakuras Plateau, so I'm assuming it's somewhere in the Shakuras province, maybe South Shakuras County, something like that. We're going to have a few roaches running up here. Being dropped, and the missile turret going to kill some stuff very fast. And there are patrolling Marines up here, but unfortunately I don't think 2 Marines can just kill them. And they actually are going to kill the Overlord, but not before all of them are indeed dropped. And a sensor tower being constructed from WOOBU. He knows if he can hold the center, if he can control it, he will be in very, very good shape now that he does have this base, and he's about to have this one as well. And my god, holy saturation, Batman. So that is a lot, just running in the Hellions and WOOBU. This is the Terran version of sacrificing Zerglings, sacrificing roaches, stuff like that, because he's sending in these Hellions saying, I know at this point in the game these aren't really going to help me. Maybe they can kill some Broodlings, but I don't really need that right now. So instead, he's going to trade those Hellions and rebuild it in things like Vikings, things like Ravens with the Seeker missile on the way, and Thors. He does have the Terran ship weapons on the way, and he is on a fully mining, well, kind of like one base. How many workers does he have? 60 workers. So, I mean, he has a few of them here and building around the map. Otherwise, I think that like 90% of them are right there. He has almost, well, actually, he doesn't have that many. So I don't know where his workers are right now, guys. Let's be honest, but, you know, he can have a pretty solid economy, especially when you drop so many mules. Just look at that income. Sending all these Vikings around for scouting purposes, and the sensor tower wall is set up across the map. Overseer is going to be headed in just to see what he can see, but missile turret is probably going to be killing that. Thor is going to be running in, and the Thor could kill that. That would be glory for his family if he was able to do that. Banshees are going to be headed over here, and there's actually not much to defend it right here. There's a Corruptor, and he is going to be able to kill this, though. TLO being very smart, though, making it Overseer very quickly. The Banshees are just going to die because they didn't start attacking quickly enough. The Corruptor totally destroying them, but it looks like we are going to be having an engagement. Something did just happen, and I'm very sorry that I apparently missed it, but, you know, the Thor count was not diminished, nor is it really growing. Ravens are still being made, as are Hellions. This is a lot of Vikings. This is just going to come to one freaking huge battle at the end of the game. I'm trying to keep track of everything, but there's scouting barracks, there's overseers all over the place, SCVs being sent out across the map to sacrifice themselves for more army supply, Hellions being sacrificed, Ravens made, Vikings created, Sensor Towers built, and I'm running out of synonyms for the word built, but oh well. It's just going to come down to one big battle. It looks like it might be happening right there. The siege tanks are going to be sieging up, and oh god, the roaches get decimated. But that is so many Corruptors. He needs to try and make sure they're not going to go ahead and clump up. Now both players hovering at 380 APM right there. TLO almost hitting 400, but the Corruptors taking a lot of damage from the Thors. Are they going to be able to kill the Vikings? I don't think they are. And that means, with the, well, once it's dead, all these Vikings are going to be dead as well. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to close this just so we can watch everything. The Broodlords versus the Thors, the Corruptors behind everything else, and WOOBU needs to make sure he needs to kill those Broodlords before they do too much damage to him. We see 12 more Corruptors on the way, 2 Thors, 2 Vikings, 2 Ravens, 2 of everything. It's like Noah's Ark up in here. The Broodlords doing so much damage, but the Thors are going to fall despite doing a lot of damage themselves, and as the last few get down to low health, the Vikings have taken out the Corruptors, but is it going to be too late? I'm not entirely sure. Microing the Vikings as much as he possibly can, but all of a sudden WOOBU way behind in supply, and he does not have the ability to remax as quickly as TLO. TLO making 30 Zerglings because he knows his opponent doesn't have a whole bunch of anti-Zergling units. He's going to kill this orbital command so fast because the upgrades on the Broodlords, +2 Carapace, +1 attack, and those Broodlings do have +2 attack and +3 Carapace, but it is going to be mass repaired by WOOBU. Corruptors coming in, they're going to kill those Vikings. He's going to go ahead, he's going to land them to try and help deal with this. And WOOBU still has a decent army, but TLO has so many units, he's going to be rallying in as soon as he remembers to grab them. I'm not sure whether WOOBU is going to be able to hold it off. Ravens are being made, throwing down those auto turrets. The Zerglings are going to be running in and seeing what they can do to these Thors. Are they going to be enough to kill it? Because the Thors are really what might stop TLO from actually being able to win this game, as he only really has, you know, Corruptors and Broodlords left. But WOOBU, the Thor falls, and WOOBU throws out the GG, and my god, was that a good game. It just shows how different the whole dynamic versus mech is. You don't really ever see players being super aggressive with mech, so it's just a different play style. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's going to be it for the ZVTs for TLO for now until I get that 4GG game up. But be sure to watch some of the ZVZs. They're freaking awesome. And the ZVPs, which I'm going to be casting in just a minute.